You know, I wish I could say it was surprising that the Mariners didn't get the second baseman for Korea. I really do. And, maybe he didn't move the needle, and maybe he doesn't turn out to be uh, what he was in the KBO and whatnot. And, that's neither here nor there. But the fact of the matter is, the Mariners needed a second baseman, and they couldn't fucking get it done. This is just getting old and tiring and irritating, and I'm just fucking out. I'm done. I cannot do this. I cannot take this fucking team no more. John Stanton, you are the cheapest son of a bitch on the planet. All you gotta do is spend money. That's it. All you gotta do. That's all you're being asked to do. Spend a little bit more money. The fact that you have a hole at first, a hole at second, and a hole at third, and we're sitting here, January 3rd, and you haven't done a goddamn thing, speaks volumes. Going into this offseason with $15 million to spend, that's what's been reporting. That's what's been reported. You've only gone into this offseason with $15 million to spend. And you can't even fucking do anything. I wasn't too excited about this free agent class, to be honest with you. There wasn't a lot there. The only two hitters that I was really excited about, that I was really lukewarm on, are Santander and Gleyber Torres, which would be good fits for the Mariners. You need a second baseman. Gleyber Torres would have been a fine addition, and he went to Detroit for $15 million because apparently John Stanton can't spend the money or doesn't have the money available. Then you have Ha-Sung Kim, or excuse me, or however you pronounce his name, and the Mariners couldn't get him because motherfucker, Then you have Ha-Sung Kim, and the Mariners couldn't afford him. You couldn't even afford $5 million. Seriously? $5 million a year? You couldn't afford that? Fucking Dodgers swooped in and grabbed him, even though they didn't fucking need him, and he's basically going to be probably a utility guy. And you couldn't have paid the money to get him, even though he's pretty much what you would expect you're hoping Cole Young will be? Really? You could pay $5 million. Or more. You couldn't up the ante. You couldn't afford this guy. Being the owner of the only team never to make the World Series. Not only that, excluding the Kraken, who get a little bit of a pass because they're in their third year and they get a little bit of a pass. You're the owner of the only fucking team in Seattle to never make a championship round. Seahawks got their Super Bowl trophy. The Storm got their championship trophy. The Sonics got their championship trophy. The Sounders got their championship trophy. The only major sporting team that does not have a championship trophy is the Mariners. And you would think, being the owner of the only goddamn team around with no fucking championship, you would actually do something about that and spend the money. But no, not John Stanton. No, siree Bob. John Stanton can't spend money because John Stanton's a cheap motherfucker. Now what do you got? You got 3 goddamn holes to fill with about a month left until pitchers and catchers report. What are you gonna do? You gonna run with Ryan Bliss at second and Dylan Moore at third? That's not good enough. Ryan Bliss, yeah, he's got potential and whatnot, but he's not there yet. And Dylan Moore fucking sucks. How many times are you going to run Dylan Moore out there for 500 bats that year, watch him strike out in key situations before you realize, maybe I need a better player? Nothing against Dylan Moore, but he cannot hit to save his ass. You need hitters. Plain and simple, you need hitters. And if you're unwilling to spend the money, or if you can't spend the money, then sell the fucking team, because you shouldn't be owning this goddamn team. Every goddamn year, we get excuse after excuse after fucking excuse why you can't spend money. 2022, you make the playoffs, you build a bunch of goodwill, and everybody's like excited for 2023, and 2023 comes around and it's a dud. It's Colton Wong, it's Tommy La Stella, it's AJ Pollock, it's all these older players that are past their prime, who are the only players that you can afford because you refuse to spend money. You couldn't bring in Dansby Swanson. You couldn't close the deal on Trevor Story. You can't close the deal on top tier talent. Instead, you're sitting there shopping at the bargain basement. Last year, you do absolutely nothing. It's Jorge Polanco. It's, let's give Mitch Haniger a try again, even though we let him walk the previous year, because we didn't believe in him anymore. And then you signed Mitch Garver, and then it just turned to a total shit show for the year. Fast forward to this year. So far, nothing's gotten done. Every team in the division has tried to upgrade. Every team. Texas brought in Jake Berger. They've also brought in a couple other guys. Houston, even though they downgraded from Bregman, they brought in Paredes, who is going to be a Crawford box merchant, and you know it. Maybe Christian Walker isn't the same player he was last year. Maybe he's a little bit better than Abreu. We will see. But at least they made the effort. The Angels are bringing in players, and they're making an effort. Even the goddamn A's, who have refused to spend money because John Fisher is a cheap son of a bitch and wanted out of Oakland, and he got his wish. Now he's playing Sacramento. They spent money on Luis Severino. The only team in the American League West not to spend any money this year. Your Seattle Mariners. Your Seattle Mariners. Best pitching rotation in baseball. And you can't spend money on offense. It's a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke. Sick of watching this. Every offseason, the fans get their hopes up, and next thing you know, they get fucked. So far this year, the only addition is Austin Shenton. Ooh, just gives me chills down my spine. Ooh, Austin Shenton. Well, we may trade Luis Castillo. Well, he's got a no-trade clause. What are you going to do with him? You're stuck with Mitch Haniger. You're stuck with Mitch Garver. In order to get rid of Mitch Haniger, you're probably going to have to trade a top 10 goddamn prospect. And you're still no closer to filling any of your holes. And we're about a month away from pitchers and catchers reporting. and there's nothing. And you're gonna make your little adjustment. You're gonna sign the over the hill players again, and then you're gonna do a press conference, and then you're gonna make Jerry and Justin take the arrows for you because you're too much of a fucking coward to come out and fucking tell the fans what they deserve to hear. Now, if you come on, it'll be if you do an interview, John, it'll be some pre-agreed to interview with pre-agreed to softball questions on fucking King 5, where you'll give answers like, "Well, we want to make the World Series, but we don't want to go all in like the Kansas City Royals in 2015 and only have one championship to show for it." They have a championship. What do you got? You got dick. John Fisher may be a cheap son of a bitch, but at least the A's have a World Series championship to show for it. The owner over in Pittsburgh may be a cheap son of a bitch, but at least the Pirates have a championship to show for it. The Tigers owners may be cheap as fuck, but at least they have a championship to show for it. You are cheap as fuck, and you got nothing to show for it. When you started this rebuild back in 2018 or whatever it was, I specifically remember you saying, and you telling us fans, when the time is right, we will spin big. Well, guess what? The time has been right for 3 fucking years. 3! And you haven't spent jack shit. You spent the bare minimum. Hell, you haven't even done the bare fucking minimum. You trade for Teoscar Hernandez. That was a fucking nightmare. You trade for Jorge Polanco. That was a fucking nightmare. You trade for Jesse Winker. That was a goddamn nightmare. So what's next? What's fucking next? Justin Turner, maybe? Fucking bring back Polanco on a prove-it deal? What's next? John, you and Chris owe this fucking fan base an explanation. And I'm not talking about sending Jerry out there and Justin out there to take questions from the media. You owe this fan base a fucking explanation. You're not going to do it because you're a fucking coward. But you owe this fan base an explanation. And you owe us one as soon as fucking possible. Because this is ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. That on January 3rd, 2025, your Seattle Mariners are not even set to go for spring training. One month, and you don't even have your fucking house in order. If you're a Mariners fan, I implore you, I beg of you, stop giving money to this fucking team. Seriously, it's at that point. John Stanton and Chris Larsen do not deserve your money because they're going to fucking pocket it and they're not going to do anything to give you any joy or any happiness watching this team. At least the Seahawks are trying to win. They may be retooling a little bit, but at least the Seahawks are trying to win. At least the Storm are trying to win. At least the Kraken are trying to win. The Mariners, however, are not trying to do jack shit. They're trying to get by doing the bare fucking minimum, and then they go out and they gaslight their fans. Well, we tried. We tried. We can't get anybody to come to the city. Nobody wants the other team apart. It's just hard, man. Fuck you. Excuses are over with. Fucking do something. If you can't afford to spend the money to field a championship team, then sell the fucking team. Well, we're a mid-market team. No, you're not. You are in the 10th biggest market in the United States. Your payroll should be somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 million. Yet it is comically short. And it's looking like this year you're going to run out Dylan Moore, who can't fucking hit. Ryan Bliss, who is not quite ready to hit Major League pitching. And then you're going to hope for Cole Young. And as much as I like Cole Young as a prospect, there's no guarantees there. At least Ha-Sung Kim was pretty much what you're hoping that Cole Young can turn into eventually. And you let the goddamn Dodgers swoop in and take him because you refuse to spend money. This does not give me any confidence that you're going to go out and sign Roki Sasaki either. He'll probably end up with the Dodgers as well because the Dodgers will be able to offer him more money even though he'd be a perfect fit for the Mariners. Nobody wants to play for this team because you're a cheap shit owner. And I'm just tired of it. So, John, either spend the goddamn money it's going to take to field a championship team so we can see a goddamn championship team, or sell this fucking team. Those are your two options. That's it.